Okay, good evening, everyone. I'm going to call the March, what's the date, 5th, 2025 meeting of the Lake Quinsigamond Commission to order. Thank you all for coming. And just to let you know that we're going to film this tonight. And so for those of you sitting in the audience, you can go home later on and watch yourself. What a good job you did. Or better do, okay, for the front row. So anyway, so it's going to be on the Media Connection, and you can watch it when you like, if you can't fall asleep. Okay, so we're going to view and act on the acceptance of the October 2024 and the January 2025 meeting minutes. Do we have those?
No, I didn't get it printed
Okay.
today.
I couldn't find them on the website.
Moving right along, review and approval of bills and expenses. Mr. No.
I've been asking for this one bill, and I don't have the information yet.
So we have the bills that we already approved for the NOI
Yep, for Newton Pond.
for Newton Pond,
Yep.
which a couple went to the state for, we already pre-approved these in one of the last meetings, but
Yes.
we have some to the town of Shrewsbury, some to the town of Boylston, some to the state, and then associated legal ads. And then, so like I said, we already approved those. The next one is, my notes moved on my desk. We are still trying to figure out what happened with those TRC past due notices. So I have to go through all of that. But other than that, I don't have any bills.
So those checks haven't been,
I don't know. I need more
Okay.
documentation from them. So I'm gonna follow up with them this week, so.
okay.
Yeah, for the 7 bills for total $9,552.50 were all approved at the previous meeting.
Right.
It's just, some of them, though approved, haven't been paid.
Is Boylston's ad bill pay on that list?
That just
Yes,
came in
I know,
today.
yeah.
Yeah, it hasn't been paid yet.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I just
WPA
want to know-
local share. We approved at $262.50, but I don't
Okay.
know whether Shrewsbury paid it.
Okay. All right.
It'll
So-
be on the warrant next week.
All right, great. All right. So that said, I'll take a motion to approve the bills.
I'll make a
Did we
motion
pay any
to
bills?
approve the bills.
We didn't pay any.
We didn't pay any.
But we did vote already to.
We
All right,
already
so-
voted on
no
all the
action.
NOI ones.
I thought we had one more, okay. And we're going to move on to the public participation part of this. And Lisa? Yep. Just state your name and
Address.
address,
Yes.
please.
Good evening. I'm Lisa DeProfio. I live at 65 Point Rock Drive, and I actually have a couple handouts.
If you just want to hand it.
Yeah,
Pass it around.
mine. I think we have enough. There you go. Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks.
Thank you.
No, I'm all set.
Okay. So, I'm here to speak on behalf of several homeowners at Point Rock, a few have come here tonight, to ask the commission to revisit a concern that was discussed at the LQC meeting on July 27th, 2022. So a few years ago, so you'll recall this. It was regarding the water ski slalom course at Flint Pond. Specifically, the frequency of use at early morning hours and the resulting noise. As explained during that meeting, which I was not present, but I did review the recording, the course was put in place in the late 80s, early 90s, after several locations on the lake were considered. The use of the course seems to have changed over the years. Once a way to teach local kids to ski, its predominant use now is by a few adult skiers early in the morning. The typical start time is before 7 a.m., sometimes as early as 6 a.m. We hear the boat's engine being repeatedly cut so the operator and skier can converse and/or change skiers. Then the boat revving up again, all amplified given the nature of water and quiet time of day. Many of us live in units with bedroom windows facing the pond. If the early morning skiing was once in a while, we wouldn't be here today. However, weather permitting, it's typically every morning from May to October. And not only do they ski early, but often within 150 feet of the shoreline, which, as you know, is prohibited by state and LQC rules. And I did include some photos attached that capture how close. One of them you can see clearly, an early morning fisherman, and you can see how close the skier and the boat come not only to that fishing boat, but also the shoreline and also wildlife that typically, resides within the shoreline. So the commission at the 2022 meeting tossed around a few possible solutions, ultimately leaving it up to the two parties involved to work it out. Thus far, there's been no resolve. We recognize the right of individuals to enjoy Flint as it's a great pond of the Commonwealth. However, having a slalom ski course isn't a right, it's a privilege, one that should come with rules that take into consideration everyone. As tax-paying property owners, we have a right to enjoy Flint Pond as well as our homes, to not be disturbed at such an early hour by excessive noise. In summary, we'd like the commission to reconsider placing some common sense rules to address this issue, just as you have done for similar complaints. And I'm referring to the early morning noise from rowing crews. Abutters complained and action was taken. One suggestion we have is to create a new lake rule or modify an existing one, a rule that places water skiing restrictions on the use of Flint Pond slalom ski course.
Oop.
Oh, being cut off. Looking at the Oscars. All right, one sec. Please see below for some.
I don't have
suggested-
music, or I'd do that instead.
What's that?
Said I don't have music, or I'd take you off on that instead.
Please see below for some, I knew I should have read quicker. Please see below for some suggested modifications. So we didn't want to just come with a complaint and not offer some solutions. So limit the hours of use, for example, prohibit water skiing between the hours of 8 a.m. due to the negative noise impact on residents in the area. Limit the days of operation. I mean, there's precedent for this. I understand from listening to the recording in 2022, in the late 80s, the course originally was put in Friday night and taken out Sunday night. And then rotate the course location. I realize that's not ideal on Lake Quinsigamond, but perhaps there's another body of water. And the idea here is to reduce the repetitive nature and minimize the negative effect on the same group of people. Thank you for your consideration. And the second page has signatures from 8 or 9 of us who feel similarly. And then I think the pictures, are pretty obvious. And I think I explained earlier. And these were taken by me. I live in a unit that abuts the water, and these were taken last summer, and this is not a one-off. So I'll stop there. Thank you for the time.
Okay, thank you. All right, is that it for public participation?
Yes.
All right. All right, commissioners' reports. Mr. Piker.
Once the ice set up, the lake had a fair amount of use. For instance, there was an ice fishing derby a week ago. There were a lot of people on Flint and Flag Pond, besides the Half Moon Cove and other parts of the lake. There is a large barrel that somebody had a fire in the Half Moon Cove. That a butter should take that is off the ice. Understand we do have a rule, and I was looking at the rules just a moment ago. I think it's rule number 24. All structures need to be removed. So it should be off. There's a lot of different waterfowl coming through. It's signaling a change of seasons. Hooded common mercenaries. There's a heron standing on the edge of the water today on the ice, which is unusual. But eagles are around, Canada geese, besides other waterfowl. We're going to be, I believe it's already began, but it's not noticeable to me because I checked the water line, but the the dam's to be reset. I think it was supposed to happen on March 1st, whereby the lake will be coming up, especially after a significant rains event as such as predicted tonight. What that means, though, is there'll be a separation in the ice from the shore shortly, and the ice will be moving around. So be aware if you have some fixed dock that it's going to be vulnerable depending upon where the flow of the ice due to windage pushes. That's just a fact. We also are going to be discussing docks tonight. The permits will be requests for dock permits in terms of renewal docks, and new docks will be needed for this coming season. As a general reminder, there is going to be a lot of rowing events in the north end of the lake, as typical and usual in terms of established use, starting at the end of this month and through, I believe, Memorial Day weekend. Other than that, Mr. Chair, that's it at the time being. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay. Stella's not here. Mr. Nelson.
Okay, I guess I have 2 points to talk about. First of all, with the ice still in the lake, there's no rowing activity. It's all taking place at the indoor tank at Holy Cross College, so nothing there. But I did get a request from the Blackstone River Coalition, and this is concerning the fact, with spring coming, and we're going to have a spring, summer, and fall more additional water testing. And while, of course, the Lake Quinsigamond Waterside Association, Lakes and Ponds at Worcester, Clark University, the state at the 2 state parks, and which some of that is actually, we help fund the Lake Commission, but the Blackstone River Coalition, which has been testing Lake Quinsigamond through the length of Grafton for a number of years and up into Flint Pond the last couple of years, is also joining this group. They're testing their water samples the same place as everybody else, but they're also, in agreement, expanding into some of the tributaries coming into the lake, particularly Coal Mine Brook right across from Donahue Rowing Center. And they're asking for volunteers, as they do every year. So anybody who listening to this meeting who wants to volunteer to test water samples, helping any one of those organizations, but particularly the Blackstone River Coalition asked, they should contact either that website or at the website heatherperry@gmail.com. Also, they wanted me to announce that this March 29th from 9 to 12 in the Blackstone River Valley Heritage Center on 3 Paul Clancy Way in Worcester, they're having a water quality summit meeting going on for those 3 hours in the morning, and all public are invited to attend if they want to find out what's being planned for water quality testing and other properties of our local water we use here around Lake Quinsigamond. That's my
Wow,
call.
very good. Okay. Anyone who hasn't been to that Blackstone facility, it's really good. It's really nice.
Nice.
Yeah. And this is a good reason to go and check it out. Okay. Lieutenant Vitas.
Mr. Chair, I have nothing to report.
All right. Good. You won't be saying that in a couple of months.
Exactly. Taking advantage of it.
Take your break now. All right. Sergeant Smith.
Pretty much the same thing, nothing obviously at the moment, other than the fact that we're going to be working to try to repair the boathouse so that we can have the boat out there more frequently than is anticipated as of right now.
Yeah, I know they've been talking about they talked about putting a new one up,
Yeah.
a
Well, now
bigger-
we don't have a choice.
a bigger facility, so maybe this is a good omen. You know, it's not always good when you get saddled with something that you have to do, but it's good
Yeah,
that you
well-
have it on there.
Hopefully now we can put a fire under the city to move on it, so.
All right. After you just said that, I hope the boathouse doesn't catch on fire.
That would be a blessing.
Yeah. Okay. No one else is in attendance for reports. So my report, a couple of things. One, the fishing tournament, technically speaking, a tournament like that, because it was, more than 25 people, they should really apply for a permit. And I'm not doing that because, we want to, claw in the money. It's actually regards one of the things that Mr. Piker brought up. This year, everybody has been extremely clean and neat out there, which is nice. There's not, that they're using the lake. That tournament was really, it was something to see, actually, because looked like Norman Rockwell out there. There's people all over the ice, and they're fishing, and there's, ATVs and snowmobiles, and I think a motorcycle going by. It was really something to see. So I encourage those kind of events. However, sometimes someone will light a fire on the lake. They'll have a big bonfire, and they'll leave it out there. So what happens is, when the ice starts to go out, whenever that's going to be this year, sometime in July, that stuff goes into the lake. This barrel is another example of that. So these are things that typically the people who participate in these events are responsible for when it's them that brings it out there. So I know who was out there in the fishing tournament this year because it was all over Facebook. So and I was happy that the lake, at least from my view, and I don't know about you guys down on the other end there, but it didn't look like anybody left anything out there. So that was good from my perspective, and I appreciate that they didn't leave anything there. But I'm going to say that this time there's not really anything I can do because the past is the past. But in the future, I expect one, that you come to the meeting, ask and tell us what the date is, so we can be prepared for it. The other part of that is law enforcement, and particularly rescue, safe, all that stuff. So if we're going to have an event like that, and we're going to end up having, God forbid, but if we have to, initiate a rescue, especially some kind of mass rescue, if there's a bunch of people going the ice, it'd be nice to have a heads up and to be ready for it, to know that it's going on down there. So those are the reasons we want to do it. We're not trying to control the lake or stop you from enjoying yourself or, prevent any fishing. We really want to do so everyone, is safe, and the lake is safe as well. So from any trash that you may leave down there. So that's my 2 cents worth on that. Also, I got a correspondence, I don't know if it's even in here, but from the city of Worcester. And, we've been going back and forth, and this is a subject that's been brought up in the meetings before, but, the docks along North Lake Ave there that are across the street from the people's houses. There's been kind of a controversy. Sometimes they go down there to get abandoned. They put, I've seen living room furniture down on the beach because that's where they're sitting on the thing, and all kinds of, different treasure. So, and people are trying to improve the banking and all that. And most of that stuff is as we found out, I don't know why the city never realized this before or let it go for so long, but, they were, they kind of encouraged people, not encouraged them, but they certainly helped them out. My brother had a right-of-way down to the lake from Natural History Drive, which he was up on the hill there. And he applied to the commission for a dock permit, and which we granted. And I wasn't on the commission at the time. And, when he put his dock down there, he wanted to build a set of stairs, which they did. And then the city came down and actually cut the guardrail and curved it all back nice and pro-like, so we'd have access to the water. I think my thought is that, you know, when they went to redo North Lake Ave, when they had to do that construction down there, they figured out that entire bank and all the way from where the state park ends down to Swan Beach is city property. So they figured out it's their property over there. Technically speaking, every one of those docks, and, you know, the commission at this point is not proactively gone into any existing docks down there. But I have, if someone, you know, inquires about putting a dock, you know, in that right-of-way situation, I will tell them it's not going to be allowed. One, you can't put a dock in a right-of-way. We've had a couple of incidents where that happened, and we had to ask the people to take the docks out. But I was waiting for the city to figure out what they wanted to do as far as the banking goes. The rule states for the docks in Lake Quinsigamond is that the dock owner has to be a landowning abutter. So that's the one thing right there. A right-of-way on a land, especially a pass-repass right-of-way, does not include ownership of it. There has been situations where the ability to put a dock in is actually on the deed. So that's a registered deed, it's a legal document, it defines how the property can or cannot be used. That's a different story. But most of the, at least what my brother's right-of-way was a pass-repass, and not only was it not on that banking, it was on Swan Beach, so, which is down in the further north on Lake Ave. So that said, and I don't know, I'm not asking for a vote or anything tonight to take any action on this, but my recommendation to the city is, if you want to apply for the city, want us to apply for dock permits and grant them to the people who live there, that's fine. But the permits are going to have to be in the city's name, who owns the property, and not in the dock owner's name or the user's name. So that's my take on that. And I'll put that on the agenda for next, because I guess it's coming to a head. So I'm going to, on the Worcester side, because they're starting to deal with it now, and I will make sure I have this discussion with the folks in the city, so they know where we stand on it and what the parameters are. And ice, as Michael had said, you know, it's beautiful now, and it was skating, and unfortunately I missed it because of this, but you know, it's going to start getting warmer. It's already starting to get warmer. I do have open water in front of my house, so if you're going to come and skate in front of my house, you got to jump over the open water to get to the ice at this point. You know, I've seen people do it, especially fishermen. They're famous for it, but you know, the ice is fairly thick right now and, you know, fairly safe. But I'm going to suggest that that's not going to be the case within the next week or so. And law enforcement reached out and asked if they should put out a warning. And at the time, you know, it started to kind of thaw out a little bit, but at the time it kind of refroze. So, you know, we've been dealing with, I don't know, 16 to 20 inches of ice in the entire lake. That's not usual, but it's really nice. And a lot of people got to, you know, recreate on there with skating and cross-country skiing and snowmobiling. And one individual, I think two individuals, with their pickup truck. Okay? That is also against the rules for Lake Quinsigamond. And I wasn't here when that rule got into place. I don't know exactly why they did it. I suspect probably that they're afraid if someone's going to go through the ice, and then we'd have to recover the vehicle. If you're out there in your truck and you're driving around, you know, there's things you have to be aware of. One, and I saw this truck on video go underneath the Burns Bridge, which isn't that safe, because it just doesn't freeze under there a lot. And I'll give credit to this. When they built the new bridge, the old bridge, the way that they handled the runoff was that the bridge was, I guess that's just made logical sense in the theory if you weren't considering what damage it did to the water body. But the the bridge was actually kind of pointed down, so it was, the lowest point was in the middle. So that's where the water came out when it came down Belmont Street and down Route 9 from Shrewsbury side. So it just went into the lake. It never froze under there at that point, or not enough. This time, there was actually a sheet of ice on it, but it wasn't very thick, not thick enough to hold a pickup truck. So there's that. And I think the pickup truck, someone had clocked the thing on the snowmobile going 80 miles an hour down the lake. Also a violation of the rules, because you're only supposed to be going 40. And they're at night, so it's actually only 20. But we don't have a rule in there right now for, besides you can't drive your pickup truck on there. They thought that would be the end of it, how fast a pickup truck can go. I reached out to the environmental police to see if the trucks on the lake, if they need to have navigation lights on it. So we'll see if that comes back. Give you guys something to do in the winter.
Sounds great.
All the truck traffic. So in a real light hanging up. Anyway, so the takeaways here are the ice is, it was really cool that the ice was out there. It was really adds a dimension to the lake that's I think really beneficial. So that said, you have to use your head. Don't leave your junk out there. If you are going to have a large gathering of a tournament thing, please let us know that. And do not drive vehicles like automobiles, trucks, tractors, in case you're thinking of going out there and plowing on the lake, on the ice. Because, you may not get caught this time, but it's going to happen. Okay. That's my
Number 7.
report.
Well, I have just one update.
Yep.
Tim, the Worcester Conservation Commission representative, he's no longer on the Worcester Conservation Commission, so we're waiting on another replacement from them. And like you said, the DPW for Worcester sent a letter to all the residents. So, like I said, I will be working with Worcester Conservation Commission, Eric Flint, this week to figure out what they need from me.
Okay.
So,
All right. Let us know what we can do to help.
yeah.
Number 7, discuss and possibly vote on annual fees for 2025. Last year, we did not raise fees, right?
I believe we raised it to the maximum.
Okay, so last year we did raise fees.
Yeah.
I think last year was the last year we raised fees.
The last
Like
year
we
of
said
the
that would be
5-year
last year.
program.
Okay, so,
I got an email from a resident, if you want me to kind of read it, because
yeah,
it's
if you
related
want.
to this.
Yep. About this?
This is from Ann Zedek Sumner,
Okay.
discussing dock fees. Appreciate our ongoing efforts. Recent years made an effort to right-size the fees. I do feel it is unfair to continue to raise those fees without concurrently tracking and finding the many dock owners who somehow get by without plates or current stickers. I realize there is a lack of resources, but I fail to understand why citizens who are compliant have to shoulder the burden. Similarly, if an owner has multiple docks, they need to pay for each one separately and not just have one plate or sticker. Perhaps I'm not aware of activity that has taken place to find and collect money from non-compliant owners. If that has been done, I would appreciate sharing details. Until all non-compliant dock owners are either fined successfully or their docks have been removed, I urge you to vote against any increases. Once we all share equally in contributing to the lake, I'll support a more reasonable annual increase.
Okay. So just to kind of go back for a second and talk about why we were increasing the dock fees every year. I can't remember how far back this goes, probably 2014 or 15. We had approached the communities, meaning Shrewsbury, Grafton, and Worcester, to give us money, to give us an appropriation so that we could help manage the lake. The town manager in Shrewsbury at the time, when we discussed this, the first question he asked me was, how much do you charge for a dock on Lake Quinsigamond? And I said, I think at the time it was like $20 or something like that, or $25. And he just said, that's outrageous. That's stupid. For a dock on Lake Quinsigamond, you should be getting way more money than that, and blah, blah, blah. So the consensus was, we got the appropriation. It was a long, drawn-out thing. We had to change the charter and do all that stuff. But Shrewsbury came through, Grafton came through, the city comes through, not so much with an appropriation of cash, but with help financially with, vegetation management. So all good. But there was an understanding that we had to bring the dock fees up to a level collectively that matched the appropriations that we were getting from the communities. And Shrewsbury's right now was, they settled on $25,000 this year. I think they're going to put us on the warrant for $35,000. And but we did take on Newton Pond, so that was a little bit extra. Issues to deal with over there that are costly on the vegetation management side. So that's the reason that we were, raising the fees every year systematically, which is, we've explained this a million times. I felt last year that we were at the level we needed to be at to get to get that match going pretty much. I totally agree with Ann about the, the people who are not paying their dock fees. It's not fair, and it does put an extra burden, or it did in this particular exercise, because we had to bring the dock up. So so a couple of things are going to happen. One, my feeling is, my vote is not to raise the fees this year. So we'll say a recess from raising the fees, if I'm just one vote, if everyone agrees. And the second thing, and probably more importantly, is that we are in the transition of, or in the process of transitioning the dock, the administration of the dock fees and the dock plates from law enforcement, who've asked us to do that, to our within the Lake Commission. And I say within the Lake Commission, that means Alyssa.
It does mean Alyssa.
It's going to do it, right? So, and we will. One of the challenges we had was the database that they was using at the police station was it was
Hard to update and hard to check.
difficult to get reports out of and things like that, and all the information it wasn't exactly in there. The law enforcement, I thank you guys, by the way, because they took this burden on. Years ago, when no one understood why they did it. I think that it may have been, I don't know who it was. I don't know, Chief Sampson or whatever. Someone didn't have enough work to do, so we said, hey, we'll take over the dock plates for you. So they've been doing a great job. Cindy Fahey, I can't say enough about her dedication and faithfulness to getting things done and to treating people fairly. So I really leaned on her a lot. And and she kept good. We had paper files and all that. So we're hoping that we can get those across. And so we're going through this transition right now. We want to get that. We will improve that database, and in so doing, it's going to make it a lot easier for us to figure out who doesn't have a dock plate on their dock before we even go out in the lake. I did it. I know law enforcement out there. I don't know. It was a few years ago, and they surveyed the entire lake. They wrote hundreds of tickets for people who didn't have them. You wouldn't believe, they go to court and it was kind of like the judge says, well, I'm not going to fine them, but now they have to go get their plate. So then I was fine with that, but that's basically what it was. So it was kind of a lot of effort to get the results that we got out of it. I went out in my paddleboard 2 seasons ago and did the same thing. And it was a lot. So, this way at least we'll have a target. We'll go through, see, by probably, you're supposed to have your plate or your permits paid by June 30th. By May 31st. And if that's not the case, we're going to start checking everything on June 30th. And we're going to go and find out, match the database with who's paid us for the permit and who hasn't, and we'll issue, the demands to get the payments and get the plates done at that point. So it's gonna happen now. It's gonna be a little bit easier, we're hoping. And for us to keep track of it, one, and two, to find out who's not doing it. So this year, if you're listening and you don't have a plate on your dock, a valid plate and a valid permit, go and get one. One. Two, the rule states that the plate has to be on the dock. It's not that you have a plate, it's the plate has to be displayed on the dock. So it's the same principle as you riding around in your car with no plate on it. You get stopped and you say to the officer, well, I have a plate, it's at home. I don't want to get it dirty, so I didn't put it on there. So that's not going to cut it. You have to put it on there. It's a fine if you don't have a plate on your dock. It's also a fine if you have a boat on a dock that doesn't have a plate on it. So it's a violation for both things. So that's the double violation. And again, I think I've said this before. I know this because one day I got a ticket. So, that was embarrassing. So, anyway, and you can also, the commission can also fine per day. So, that the rules in the Quinsigamond Commission, any of our fines or any of our actions like that can be done every day. It's not taken care of. So that could add up. And, I think that some of the biggest offenders that I've seen are on the south end of the lake because, mostly because law enforcement couldn't get over there. And so it was hard for them to kind of police that. That's not the case anymore. Thanks to our friends in Worcester and in the jet ski and from Shrewsbury, that is totally accessible to law enforcement now. So those things will change as well. So that's my 2 cents worth on that.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, number one, I just want to remind everybody who's here but who's listening, no members of the commission derive any salary or income from the commission. We do it on a volunteer basis. Those monies that Chairman Collins has been talking about goes back into the lake, period. Number two, Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we take a vote on no increase in dock fees this year, Mr. Chair. I'd like us,
And just for the record, I do get paid partly through here,
Well,
but
the
also by
secretary.
the town.
As-
As a secretary.
As the
so
secretary.
Alyssa
I am the
gets-
only one.
so I stand corrected, she gets a fee, secretarial fees, which is necessary.
Yep.
There's a lot of work we have to do. I stand corrected in that regard.
And then just for the record, 2024, we decided fees to be 55 for residential, 110 for commercial. And then if you paid after May 31st, there is a $10 late fee, so 65 and 120. So that's what we did last year. The motion,
Okay.
as Mr. Pike has said, would be to maintain that for 2025.
Yes, it would.
So
Mr.
your
Chair?
motion is to carry that over?
Yes.
Before we vote on that, can I make a comment?
Sure.
Peters did an excellent job warning about the scofflaws who are not paying and the dangers of that. But I'd just like to say a little bit about the past history. It was 6 years ago that it came before the commission that, and Peter alluded to this, that we needed to double the fees. They were either $25 or $30 a year. There was a lot of controversy over that. There were a lot of lake residents who grumbled about it. Law enforcement was worried that if we doubled the fees, the amount of people they'd be chasing might not just double, but triple. And the Lake Commission debated that for a while, and we finally ended up voting, it was a very close vote, that we would not double the fees that year. What we would do for the next 5 years, we'd increase them each by 20%. That was basically the $5 fee, that it's gone up each of the last 5 years. And as was just mentioned by our secretary, it ended up for not commercial docks, but at 55, halfway between the 50 and 60. So the commission really in the past worked very hard, not only to, worry about scofflaws, but also to worry about the residents and make sure that the fees did not go up too fast and too high, no more than we absolutely needed. That's just my comment.
All right, thank you. Any other comments?
Per Rule 8C, the fee is $50 per day if you don't have your dock.
The fine.
Yep,
The fine,
yep,
fine of $50 per day.
per day. So, and we're not even gonna like look at you until June 30th, so
We'll give you a little bit of a
that's 30 days right
buffer,
there.
but
All right.
Mr. Chair, will
Is there a second?
you second my motion?
I'll make a motion to second it that we do not increase the fees this year,
Okay.
since we've done it the last 5.
All right, and we carry the fee over of $55,
As
For-
set previously.
as set previously, okay. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so voted. Item number 8, discuss to possibly vote on the request to repair a dock at 332 South Quinsigamond Avenue.
So this one, I know Mr. Pike took a walk down there and approved it. I just wanted to make sure that we had it on the record and we just have a verbal, that we have approved the update to the dock at 332 South Quinsig Ave on the Shrewsbury side.
Okay, I got to recuse on this.
Okay.
Michael?
I vote that we approve the dock at 332 South
You
Quinsigamond
got to
Ave.
get a motion.
Oh. So you're acting as chair for a minute, so you need to
Yep.
take a motion and then somebody else needs a second.
Can I take a motion in terms of approval of a dock at 332 South Quinsigamond Ave, which I went and overviewed, and it appears it's in compliance.
I second.
Okay,
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
okay.
All right,
Like I said, for the record.
okay.
Cool.
I'm back.
Okay.
All right, okay.
Update on lake management plan?
Yeah, I thought there was another,
You have visitors. You want to let them talk?
yes, I do, but before that, I wanted to, is Patrick here? He's not here, right?
No.
I wanted to earmark, a date for the adaptive water ski, event, and, the organization wants to do it on July 2nd, I think, which is a Wednesday. And it will involve a ramp closing.
Okay.
It is a Wednesday.
Yep.
Okay, that's
And
it.
that's at Donahue?
That's at Donahue. So it's gonna start at like, they say 7, but no one gets going. So you guys
Never
will be off.
starts till 8.
Yeah, you guys will be off the lake by then,
Right.
but,
So we can put it officially on the agenda next week for the official vote, but,
okay. I was gonna see if Patrick, if the rowing guys had any, you guys don't have anything going on, do you?
That late, the students are basically essentially all left.
Okay, all right. What about the,
The
Masters.
regattas are over by Memorial Day, and
Yes.
July 2nd
Okay.
is a month later.
Yes.
okay, good. All right, so, yeah, we can put it on the agenda for next week.
okay.
All right, next item is an update from the Lake, I always get this thing wrong, Quinitiative.
Like the Quinix.
Yeah, the Lake Watch Quinitiative.
So if you
Come on
just
up.
say your name, just for the record, when you sit down. And those black things are the mics, so
Yeah,
Okay, fancy.
you don't have to bend over and talk on them, but
they can hear you.
they'll
just-
hear you.
Right, just gonna quickly set up here. All right, hi everyone. My name is Dia Anwin. For those of you who may have forgotten, I am a CEO at Lake Watch Initiative, and I'm joined today by
Brian Olson.
And Ahil Hassan.
our head of education and head of volunteer. They go very hand in hand together. So the last time we all met was December 4th, and we discussed what Lake Watch Initiative was about. And I'm very happy to report that after we met, we have been able to expand Lake Watch Initiative beyond the cleanup branch. For refreshers for you guys in today's audience who was not there for the December 4th meeting or haven't been able to check on the recording, Lake Watch Quinitiative is a student-led organization that is dedicated to educating and providing environmental opportunities to our future generations on local bodies of water that local bodies of water Lake Quinsigamond endures. And the other two branches to Lake Watch Quinitiative is filmmaking and education. So why don't we take
Speaking of education, last month we were able to host 3 educational workshops in the Shrewsbury Public Schools district. 2 at New Beale and 1 at Sherwood Middle School. Our winter shops, we are focusing on stormwater pollution that Lake Quinsigamond endures and teaching the youth about how stormwater pollution occurs, how it affects local bodies of water, and efforts that we can make to reduce that form of pollution. The workshop consists of an interactive model we use to teach the kids the key concepts, and then having the kids participate in a lab to create their own watershed model and see how the pollution interacts with the land during the rain.
In order to make these workshops possible, we have worked with the Green Club in our school to get volunteers to assist in cleanups and interact with kids to make the workshops more fun and less like a traditional class.
As for our filmmaking branch, we have filmed our first official scene with the Shrewsbury Media Connections. Alyssa's part of. We have to give a huge shout out to Mark for filming us. The video ended up being an hour long, mostly with Mr. Collins talking, which
It's fine.
No.
it's okay. It's fine.
That's short. I was just saying hello.
Okay. So the scene was basically me interviewing Mr. Collins and Ms. Kickham, who's in the audience today, regarding stormwater pollution and sewage pollution that Lake Quinsigamond endures. Again, huge shout out to Mark for filming us for over an hour on this interview. We're very grateful for his support, and we're hoping to do more in the filmmaking branch as the weather gets warmer. So we're planning to film more in the summer. And for Lake Watch, this is only the beginning. We are planning to do so much more with all our branches. We're securing more workshops in the Shrewsbury Public District to present, especially to the extended day program. So far, our demographic has been first graders to sixth graders, and it's been a huge success. The kids are loving it. We're able to teach kids about stormwater pollution, which is incredibly important. And over the summer, we're hoping to establish a summer workshop where we're partnering with the Shrewsbury Public District, and we're talking to the extended day program, Karen Isaacson, Miss Isaacson, I will call her, where we're creating a summer workshop camp where kids can come, learn about specific kinds of pollution that affect Lake Quinsigamond, and learn more just about environmental science in general. Kind of like pre-APES, if any of you guys have taken APES in high school. I don't think you guys, do you guys remember high school?
AP,
Yeah.
Yeah, riding.
throwing punches.
No.
Riding on horses.
No.
Class.
Yes.
No, I did not mean
It's only
I
one
know.
room, so, everybody was the same.
Okay,
So the extended day program would be a good place to do some.
yeah.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a great program. A lot of kids, and I'm very surprised with how much little kids are actually very interested, like very early on environmental science. Actually, when I went and performed like one of my first workshops, there were so many kids who actually knew a lot what I was talking about, and actually they were like third to fourth graders. They had like somewhat of a basic idea, so it was very like it made me honestly very happy to see a lot of young people like interested in these things. So
Wonderful.
we just hope we can do our part in expanding that more and maybe inspiring more kids to be interested and probably even pursue environmental science in the future or do what you guys are doing, which is very cool, having your own commission debate, talking about Lake Quinsigamond. It's a very cool thing. So, and as we continue on, we're also discussing with our team potential workshops for Girl, Boy, and Cub Scouts. So we're trying to expand beyond the Shrewsbury Public District so we can, get more faces, teach more kids. And as for our cleanup branches, since it's been very cold, we haven't been able to do a lot of cleanups. However, we're planning to do our first one around April time, maybe before Earth Day, because I know that's when a lot of cleanups happen. And we're hoping to do much more in the summer. because we want to create community, engagement with Lake Quinsigamond, especially during the summer. And lastly, we're working on environmental opportunities. This is a current work in progress that we're doing, but we want to put out there, where we want to create something where we can give environmental opportunities to Shrewsbury High School students, actually, where they can research and learn about a current issue that Lake Quinsigamond is facing and be able to present it to a community of people who are interested. And this is a way we can also build more community engagement with Lake Quinsigamond and get more people interested in learning about what's going on, but also learning how to, protect Lake Quinsigamond with stormwater pollution, especially since that's one of the most biggest pollutions that go unnoticed, which is something I learned when creating this organization a lot, which is something I really want to push forward and want more people to just know about, which is incredibly important.
We would love to give a huge shout out to Shrewsbury High School Green Club for the support with volunteers, and to Miss Morin, a Shrewsbury High School faculty member that helped push our workshops out into the Shrewsbury district.
And also to wrap things up here, I would love to give a huge shout out to my team here today. So first of all, my head of education, head of volunteering, who came by and made it today to be able to present with me. And I would love to give a huge shout out to my head of marketing, Emily Chow, who was there with me day one when we created this organization. I remember we were in my basement. We were coming up with the logo because we really wanted to get this idea out there. So I'm incredibly grateful to her and her support in everything she has done. And I would love to thank the following: the head of finance, Sanchi Jera, the head of IT, Elliot Moore, the head of volunteering, Amir and Brian Olson, as I stated, the head of filmography for our documentary branch, Jaskirat Singh. I recommend checking out his stuff on YouTube if you just search up his name. He has a documentary that's actually been out on PBS, which is incredible. And our head of social media, Kelvon Sango. And lastly, I would love to thank my C-suite. So Lake Watch Initiative started out as an initiative, as I stated last time in our meeting, but we're hoping to become 501c approved so we can do more for Lake Quinsigamond. And I would love to thank my C-suite, Ishan Jain, Rishaf Chatterjee, and Pranav Nandamali. I thank them so much for their hard work they put into this organization and everything they do, handling the internal affairs of Lake Watch Initiative, so we can come to meetings like this and do educational workshops, cleanups, and everything. Without them, we wouldn't even have a structured organization to work with. So I'm so incredibly grateful to them. And I'm so incredibly grateful for them because also beyond being C-suite members, they are my friends who have been supporting me in the backline, seeing me do educational workshops and everything. And as friends, I'm just incredibly grateful to have them in my team. So I would love to thank them as well. And I would love to thank the commission today for your time and taking the time to hear about our organization, what we've been doing. And hopefully next time, maybe we'll even give you a preview of our workshops if you guys are ever interested. So I thank everyone here today.
Right.
I'd like to thank you as well, and maybe just add a comment. You're probably very much aware of this, but you've probably heard of the bird flu, and particularly in southeastern Massachusetts, the area around Plymouth, the towns of Plymouth, Carver, and Kingston, they've had large numbers of Canadian geese dying and seagulls. So in your cleanup, I hope, and as I said, you're probably aware of this, please warn all of your participants to be very careful and maybe let the professionals handle any large collection of dead birds.
Yeah, we're definitely staying away from dead birds here. But no, yeah, that's, I remember last time, I believe it was you who gave the list of places we could potentially clean up. And we've been actually reviewing that. And usually before cleanups, we send a person to go check out the area to make sure, we can give the volunteering hours, but not only that, to check and make sure it's not a safety hazard for the public to clean up. So the bird flu thing is actually a good point to mention. So thank you so much for that.
Anyone else have a comment or questions? Or
Good.
good job. Yeah, I'm going to go out. Kind of like proud papa here, dear, but good job. Good job.
Can I say one more thing, if I could? It's a wonderful thing to see a younger generation take such interest in the lake. I have informally been talking to colleagues for a couple years now that there really needs to be a younger generation to step up to do such things as you've enunciated today. So I think it's wonderful. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Of course. Hopefully the rest of the meeting goes well.
So you're gonna bug out, is that what you're saying?
No, I'm staying. I'm here for the whole thing. I'm
Perfect.
interested.
I'm not trying to make you feel bad. You can do whatever you want. All right. Okay.
Katie Liming?
Yeah, we're on to,
The drawdown started.
oh, I'm sorry, the lake management stuff.
Not the
So,
drawdown.
yes, so the drawdown.
Draw,
It's not
refill.
It's refill.
Refill. The
Refill.
reimpoundment, you want to
opposite.
get technical.
Reimpoundment.
Okay, the reimpoundment is started, they did start right around the first. Well, they didn't start on the first because it was Saturday, but they went down, they checked out the dam, they got everything running, and they're gonna, incrementally bring the lake up over the next few days, next few weeks. I know that, that our dam guy, you have to be careful of how you enunciate that, but he is, he's concerned bringing it up too fast, especially with the ice cap. So this is something, we all have to deal with. I suspect there may be some damage on Lake Quinsigamond, for docks or walls or anything like that because of the ice. And again, the ice is an incredible force, an incredible hydraulic force. And once it breaks away and it moves, and that's when it's dangerous, is when it's moving, nothing can stop it. So especially a 16-inch thick piece of it. So it'll take out whatever it's in its way. Whatever way, literally, the turn of phrase, whatever way the wind's blowing, that's the way the ice is gonna go. And that could be any way in a given day. So keep an eye out for it. If you did leave your dock in, or you did have something in the water, you may wanna see if you can, try to protect it. That said, you cannot use, which wouldn't be very effective at this point anyway, you cannot use, devices that will clear out the water, like bubblers. You have to be careful of that because that's also against the rules. And
Number 10, Mr.
that's that on the lake management stuff. I'm going to defer some of the what do you call vegetation management to Katie. And you're up, Katie.
And just a quick update on Newton Pond. We're on the agenda, I believe, for conservation,
sorry.
Shrewsbury
Yep.
Conservation for this month, and then also Boylston, so we're gonna be working on those.
Yeah.
TRC, and I'm vaguely helping. And then, so Katie doesn't have to work on Newton Pond.
No.
But she helps us with everything else, so
Yep.
Lake Quinsig time.
Yep, it's all a good thing. Just one quick thing, Katie, sorry. Also, for Newton Pond, we're going for permits for both actual treatment of the vegetation, which, whatever we determine is the best way to do it. That could be chemicals or hand pulls or, harvesting. But we're also going for a drawdown for Newton Pond as well. So that's a little bit more complicated, but, it's probably long overdue. And Newton Pond is a great prospect for that being effective as for what they have over there. Katie, that's a hard act to follow, so
It is.
no pressure.
absolutely. Well, that's all. That's all. We'll never live up to that quite exactly, but we will do what we can. For any folks who don't know me, I'm Katie Liming. I'm the Lakes and Ponds Coordinator for the City of Worcester. To speak briefly about some lake management issues, as has been mentioned in previous meetings, the natural heritage permit for Lake Quinsigamond was extended for 2 years, in many thanks to the Permit Extension Act, which impacted many permits all across the state, including the 3 separate orders of conditions from each municipality. So the original plan had been to reapply for a new project plan through Natural Heritage, but with the extension of the permit that is no longer necessary until 2 years from about now. So that presents us with the opportunity to potentially do some diver-assisted suction harvesting in the spring, if it is approved by Natural Heritage, because in order to do that type of management in zones, in Zone B, where we have the rare endangered plants, it needs to be approved by the state to make sure that the rare plant won't be impacted. I've reached out to Natural Heritage to see if we're able to use the plans from the 2024 season that weren't implemented due to administrative issues. We'll hopefully we'll get a check mark from them, but I really am not sure. That would be relying on the extent of the plant growth to be pretty much unchanged from the height of the growing season from the year before, which if we're implementing, in the spring before growth really starts to pick up, I would not expect the distribution of the endangered plant to have changed that much over that time, but we'll see what they say. If nothing else, I'm happy to support the commission in a new project or a new work plan to do similar work. If using the old work plan isn't approved, that would be slightly later in the summer because that would likely require the resurveying of the rare plants prior to forming the work plan. So once I hear back from Natural Heritage, the chair is also copied on that email, so we'll find out at the same time, but look forward to supporting how I can. Any questions on that before I move on to other updates? Okay, I'll try to keep things fairly brief because we've had a wonderfully packed agenda, but I did want to briefly mention, I love the appreciation for the Blackstone River Coalition volunteer sampling. I've actually volunteered with them longer than I've worked for the city of Worcester. It's a wonderful experience, so if anyone's interested, really, really highly recommend that. The city of Worcester is facilitating the sale of rain barrels at a discounted rate. Essentially, if you buy it through the community program, you get a cheaper rate and then you don't have to pay shipping. We partner with a company that facilitates bulk distribution events. So if you're interested in buying a rain barrel, I have a flyer with information. You must order in advance by May 4th, and then you must pick it up on May 15th between 5 and 7 p.m. at the Blackstone Heritage Corridor Visitor Center. So more information on that is available on our program's webpage. In addition, all of these updates will also be on our webpage if details are needed later. The Worcester Cyanobacteria Monitoring Collaborative is a volunteer science group that collects cyanobacteria and harmful algal bloom samples from lakes and ponds within Worcester and from the surrounding area as well. On Thursday, April 10th at 6:15 at the Worcester Senior Center, we'll be presenting the results from the 2024 data collection effort and then also appreciating our wonderful volunteers. So that's a great event to attend if you're interested in volunteering with the program. We are looking to recruit additional volunteers for 2025. So you're welcome to reach out to me personally, or we have an interest form to register for more information and for the training materials. Next up, in previous meetings, I have mentioned that the city has contracted a project to develop watershed-based plans for 3 watersheds in Worcester, so including the Quinsigamond watershed. This will be a data analysis effort and a community engagement effort to identify sources of non-point source pollution and create a roadmap for taking action and improving water quality laid out over the next 10 years. So the consultant has prepared a quality assurance, essentially a data management plan that must be approved by Mass DEP before the real technical analysis can continue. But in that interim, we are organizing 3 public meetings, one in each watershed, to kick off the project and let folks know how they can contribute and how they can offer their input and offer their observations. So the first one has been scheduled for the Tatnuck Brook watershed on April 2nd. The other two meetings for Millbrook and for Quinsigamond will be scheduled. We'll announce the dates in the next couple weeks. So please look out for information and for communication on that as well. A huge thank you to everyone who came to State of the Lakes on January 30th. Hopefully it was a great event. The Lake Quinsigamond Water Quality Report is available on the Lakes and Ponds Program webpage currently. So that is a summary of all of the water quality data collected by the Lakes and Ponds Program, as well as some details on management and outreach that happened over the year. And finally, in November of 2024, the U.S. FEMA released preliminary maps updating flood risk zones for the city of Worcester, which is actually the first significant update to Worcester's flood maps since 2011. So these maps are expected to become effective in 2026 or 2027 and will inform requirements for mandatory flood insurance. So for any folks impacted by the changing maps, they should expect to receive a letter from the city explaining that they might be subject to mandatory flood insurance. And everyone is invited as well to attend one of two or both public meetings. One is on March 26th from 6 to 7:30 at the Worcester Senior Center. And then a second meeting is virtual through Zoom on April 23rd from 6 to 7:30 p.m. And all of this information as well is on a webpage from the Division of Planning and Regulatory Services from the City of Worcester. You can reach out to me for the details, or you can just Google City of Worcester, flood maps, FEMA, and you should be able to find the webpage. I will note that the new preliminary maps do include some expanded flood zones along Poor Farm Brook. I don't think that they impact any properties, but it looks like there might be some impacted properties along Flint Pond. So again, those letters were mailed out on Monday. So if you're an abutter on Flint Pond and you think you might have some flood risk, be sure to check your mailbox this week to see, or reach out to our Department of Planning and Regulatory Services for more information.
And I'm sure Aaliyah might have more information on the Shrewsbury Conservation, might have more information for Shrewsbury residents.
Were the Shrewsbury maps updated too?
I believe there's some overlap between the two. I don't know where the actual line is between the two.
Okay.
So, but yeah, I'll touch base with Aaliyah and make sure.
Okay.
Question. The low-end areas are in Easton End in Shrewsbury and Grafton, particularly along Creeper Hill Road in Grafton. So has the Grafton Conservation Commission been notified?
I don't know if the maps outside of the city limits have been updated. Specifically, there's a viewer on our webpage which shows the updated areas, and it's limited to the city of Worcester limits. But I'll be happy to follow up with them for more information to see if the updates were expanded beyond the boundaries.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions? Katie, just a quick thing on the rain barrel stuff. Is that just for Worcester residents?
Nope. Anyone can purchase a rain barrel as long as you're willing to pick it up in Worcester. And actually, the company, the GreatAmericanRainBarrel.com, will have a list of programs, community programs, and really you can sign up for anyone, and like any community's program, and go to their distribution event and pick up your rain barrel there. So as long as you're able to get yourself there, you're welcome to order through there.
All right, great.
They're recycled olive oil jugs, and they smell like it. So it's fun. Most of the other towns do have them around, so I've done it for a couple. So.
Yeah, I know, it's really a good thing. And I just, one quick comment on the State of the Lakes. That was was poking fun at you here following Dia, but that was a great presentation. It was very informative, and I like that you kept it short and sweet. That was a nice touch. Yeah, so it was well done, and I would recommend. Was that televised?
It was not, no.
Well, next year, if you need a
I already volunteered myself and Mark.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, we'll be happy to do it. So, I think we did it the first year. Anyway, that was a nice thing to have. As always, thank you all. Thank you for the great work you're doing on behalf of the lake, and your program is just awesome.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate the collaboration.
Me too. And Dia, you were at Lake Watch. I mean, you were at the State of the Lake.
He was.
Lake Watch was there.
The pretty solid watershed model.
It was. Yeah, till the end.
Oh, yeah,
Oh.
did not last.
No, I had to clean that up. Or actually, Barb did most of the cleaning up. All right. Speaking of Barb,
Number 11.
up you go.
Hello, I'm Barbara Kickham with the Lake Quinsigamond Watershed Association. Let's see. Yes, it was a great presentation, Katie. The State of the Lakes is always a really great program every year. And I really would like to see more Lake Quinsigamond residents show up. I mean, all the other lakes and ponds in Worcester have tables of people, and it's usually me and Pete and maybe Mike sometimes, but it's very informative to see what else is going on in the other city ponds, so it's really informative. And Katie was brief, but I think it was a while. I think it was it's a couple hours. The whole thing's a couple hours. So I don't want anybody to think it's like too short or something. But
No, the presentation I was talking about was brief. I missed the
yeah, but it's
the meet and greet part, but yeah.
yeah. The mayor shows up, and there's a lot of.
Did they speak as long as I do,
dignitaries.
Dia? Did they speak as long as I do?
No.
No? So that's good.
Yeah. And I also want to thank Dia and her group. I had no idea you had so many volunteers now and so many people taking on specific responsibilities. Again, yeah, we've talked about it, Mr. Pica, about trying to get young people involved. It's very exciting. And be a 501c3, I can help you with that because I did that for Lake Quinsig. It's just really exciting to see you guys interested and doing a lot of different things. That being said, I have many volunteer opportunities if you guys are interested, because we are, always looking for people. We're, some of the people that are most involved, myself included, have to step back a little bit. We've got a lot of other things that are, on our plates right now. So we're just trying to maintain, but there's just so many opportunities for people to get involved with the lake and be supportive. If they, just want a couple hours. We need someone, it would be nice to have someone for Jordan Pond to do the cyanobacteria monitoring collaborative, and I know Katie has other locations probably on the lake. It's very easy. It's once a month. It's fun. You go and look at the bacteria under the microscope. So that's one opportunity, and it's really interesting because people are worried about the cyanobacteria, so it gives us, point in time. It's not, super scientific. It's not detailed. It's not the whole pond or lake, but it gives us some information that things are climbing and things in general are getting better or worse or staying the same or whatever. So it's really informative. We are looking for someone to volunteer to help with the water chestnut weed pull. Mike Liberty and I have done it for the last, I think 5 years. And this year we'd like to get one. It's physically a pretty demanding day. So we just need some bodies. Getting the kayaks, we can rent them from Regatta Point. If we get them from the city, it depends on the weekend and if they're available, and we have to get them. And the bags are, really heavy. There's a lot of weeds. So we'd like to get one weed pull in this summer. And in the past 2 years, we got money from NUIPIC, the New England Interstate Water Pollution Control Commission. They're getting their funding cut is just, everybody is. But they did contact us about trying to help us organize. I don't think there's any money. I'm sure there's no money, but just they're very good about getting the word out. And we got a lot of volunteers through them and just helped us organize. So they're setting up a meeting right now. We did a doodle poll, but I don't know when that's going to be. So we don't have that scheduled. And if you're wondering about the cost, to run one of these at a minimum, it's a couple $100 for the kayaks, unless we get some from the city. And it's a couple $100, depending, $200 to $300 for the insurance, because it's $10 per person, plus I have to join and as an organization, blah, blah, blah. So it is $400 or $500. Okay, so we'd also look like a volunteer for a booth at Arbor Day. Somebody's interested in that. That's always nice to have. We weren't invited last year, but they invited us this year. So it's just nice to have a representation and, have the watershed model or something, because you get a lot of kids there. Just want to let people know we still have T-shirts and sweatshirts. And we will have a general meeting probably in April or early May, but we haven't scheduled that yet. So I think that's all. We haven't organized anything for Earth Day. Usually it's a cleanup, very informal at Flint Pond, the boat ramp area.
All right.
But last fall, it was very, very clean down there. And Dia and her group went down there, thought about doing a cleanup, and was amazingly picked up.
Right.
So I don't know how it's going to be at the end of winter, but
Yeah, we had considerably less traffic down there this year too, last summer.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think also the machine burning kind of helped us, because that, they kind of cleaned up most of their stuff too, so,
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
So,
Right.
that's good.
Thank you.
I hope that stays like that. Thank you, Barbara, as always. A very, the watershed is, the commission is the commission, and, we deal with other stuff, but the watershed is really the people's voice on the lake. And whoever does not belong to that should join, because they do a fantastic job. And it was good to see. I was a little envious that there were like a lot of people from, watersheds from Indian Lake and other ponds and stuff in Worcester that were at the, luckily, we did have some representation there, because we had the Lake Watch folks there, so that was good. But it would be nice to have other people there. So hopefully we'll be able to make that happen next year. That's next month's meeting. Oh, review correspondence, I'm sorry.
We already,
We already did it. It was,
Yeah,
they were
that was
related
it.
to the other stuff.
Okay. So, so next, set the date for next meeting?
The fifth Wednesday is gonna be April 30th?
April 30th?
Yeah.
Okay.
Does that work?
Works for me. I mean, we're supposed to have it on the fourth Wednesday, right?
I guess just food for thought in the future, would we want to, I think having it quote the last Wednesday, where sometimes there's 4 Wednesdays and sometimes there's 5, it's throwing people off.
Right.
So food for thought for the future, if we want to move it to the 3rd Wednesday, it might be a little bit more consistent for people.
How does that,
30th,
Or the
fine.
4th, or, I'm just saying, but
Yeah.
you want
I
to
mean, we
stick
could
to
do it for the
30th
last
now?
Wednesday, but that would still confuse people, I guess. But yeah,
I mean, whatever for the future, but for
Yeah.
now, let's,
I don't think that's
April
like actually a rule.
okay.
So
Well, we
I
can do
think-
whatever
I
you
think-
want, but if
I
we,
think we can move it around. All right.
but if we do like the 3rd Wednesday, it's not gonna move.
I think the last is very clear. It's the last.
The
Yeah,
last
the
Wednesday.
is-
That's fine.
The last Wednesday on the
I'm
left.
just-
Okay.
But yeah, so we have 5 Wednesdays this time, so it's gonna be the 30th.
All right. So this is the 30th.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. Fine. And with that, I don't have, anyone else have anything else to? All right. I'll take a
I'll make a
motion.
motion to adjourn.
I'll second the motion, Mr. Chair.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.